Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all you beautiful viewers around the globe. And thank you for joining us and welcome. And today we have as our guest, we've got the beautiful Beverley Iffla. And she is viewing in from Australia. So thanks for joining us, Bev.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love having a chat with you ladies.
Lovely to be here, Bev. Lovely to be with you today.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. So Janine's going to read your bio and introduce you to everybody.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So in Bev's words, I've had a relationship with Uluru in many lifetimes, and in this particular lifetime, it started when I found my voice, or at least allowed the voice of my ancestors to come through me in 1999. Coming through for the first time was a complete surprise and happened while I was co-facilitating a group. I had spent years before this clearing old patterns from my cellular memory and reconnecting into my Aboriginal past lives. Past lives are places I've gone to reclaim the parts of myself I lost along the way. In doing this, it allowed me to connect with the energies of healing that come from sound. This has been my go-to in my healing practice for many years. The deep resonances that come through me have a very earthy quality and have instigated miracles for some of my one-on-one clients, as well as those who have attended my sound circles. I was privileged to be part of a group of 11 women who spent 11 days at the Rock, Uluru, in 2010. Opening the Lemurian Library held within. I'm someone who has been through many trials in this life. However, this allows me to be fully present in compassion and understanding as I hold the space for those whose trauma is very deep. The many layers of our lives are a never-ending story that is worth healing. I bring through sound and images that will connect you to the Lemurian Library held within the Rock. This library was brought back online in 2010, so those who resonate with it can collect their knowledge that was held there till this time of our Great Awakening. I can really feel the power of that. Yes, a beautiful bio, Bev. I'd just like to start this by just saying I'm intrigued by your sharing in your bio, that part that I was privileged to be part of a group of 11 women who spent 11 days at the Rock in 2010, opening the Lemurian Library held within. Would you share with us how those 11 days looked and felt for you? Must have been a time of incredible connection, not only to Uluru, but to your ancestry, to sacred ritual, and maybe even to what the Aboriginals describe as dream time. Would you take us through some of that journey and how it was for you, Bev?
Yes, I went with a group of women that had all done the earth healing for sacred geometry, which is a program that I was teaching. And we all connected and went to Uluru. Most of us didn't know each other, but there was just this coming together. And the moment I stepped foot off the plane, you could feel the power of the rock just calling you. It was like this drawing you in to go and say hello. It was like there was nothing. We didn't even get to go book into our accommodation before we needed to go to the rock, because the presence of that rock is just so overwhelming. It draws you in. So we settled into our little cabins, and we spent every day going, well, no, not every day, but nearly every day going to the rock and introducing ourselves and walking around, because each place, I remember it took like, I don't know, 3 hours to walk 100 metres, because every part of the rock wants to speak to you. So it's like really connecting in and feeling that energy and allowing that to be embodied within you. There were days when some of us couldn't move out of our cabins because it was so impactful, the energy that was running through our bodies. We also spent time out at Katajuta, which is not far from Uluru, and they have a balancing energy between them. I think it must have been, so we spent all of this time there preparing ourselves. It was like this, we were having initiation after initiation in preparation for us to be able to hold the energy to open this library. One of the really interesting things about it was while we were there were no Aboriginals there. There was about 3 or 4. The rest had all gone off to Alice Springs for a funeral. So that's part of how they work. It's like if there's a funeral, everybody goes to the funeral. But there was a couple still in the store there, and there was one guide, but the rest had all gone. So it was quite I don't know. That's just how it happened. We so after all our preparation, we went to Katajuta, and then we went out to Cave Hill. Now Cave Hill's like a 4-hour journey to get there, so it was a big day. Anyway, we get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get on this bus to go out there, and the guy that's the tour guide, he's like, he was over the top, chatty. All us women was quiet as mice. It was so impactful on us that we couldn't say a word. He finally got the message and was quiet, and he then related the story of Cave Hill as we went out there, and that was the story of the 7 sisters. So it was like we had to do all of these little journeys while we were there to collect the information that we needed in our bodies. Cave Hill has the story of the 7 sisters on the roof of the cave.
Are we talking about the Palladian system, 7 sisters?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Please carry on.
Matariki in New Zealand. So this is the story seems to be everywhere, but this is their story. And the paintings on the cave roof have been continually there for 40,000 years.
Wow.
And and because they were all away, we had a woman come tell us the story. Usually it's a male, but we had a woman. And so in there we had, you can see in the rocks is the story of the 7 sisters, as well as in the cave. Anyway, the Aboriginal woman that led us told the guide, leave them in the cave. They can stay there as long as they need, because she understood that we were on a journey, that we were there for a specific purpose. Whereas he was like, okay, you see the cave, out you come, go and have a barbecue. So we were very fortunate that she was there and she could hold that energy for us. Then when we got back to camp, the next day is the day that I had to stay at camp on my own all day, just processing all that I had embodied within me. And most of it was not mental. Like, I don't have many words for that, because it was all experiential, all happening in the cells of my body. Katajuta was another full day, and we went in the morning, didn't take food or water. Don't know what we were thinking. We didn't take water, but we didn't take any food. And that was another place that it took us hours to go around until our body was just about dying from no food. But that is another place. I always felt like you walk between the worlds when you go to Katajuta. It was also there that I was given 2 little stones and one represented, this is what it did for me, one represented Uluru and Australia, and the other little stone represented New Zealand, because it was just before I moved to New Zealand, because I
Right.
moved in 2011. And it was like really imprinting in me that I needed to come and live over there.
Mm.
And, you know, I was 55, for God's sakes. And I'm going all the way over there on my own, not knowing anybody. It's like, anyway, I met lots of beautiful people and it was extraordinary.
Mm.
Anyway, I think it might have been 2 days before we left. We went out to the rock. It was quite warm, and we had a lot of rain, by the way, which doesn't happen that often. It was quite warm, and we're sitting on a bench just in front of the rock, and there was the 11 of us all spread out around the place. Do you know, there was one tour group came through just as we were starting, led by this Aboriginal woman. They came through and off they went. And while we opened that library, not another soul came anywhere near us.
Mm.
It was like, it was so divinely in place for us all
Mm.
to just be there.
Amazing
And
how that happens.
It's
Yeah.
so cool, eh? It just
Yeah.
buzzes me out.
So
Yeah.
cool. And you know, when you go into meditation or in that deep healing space, and then you feel yourself come out of it, it's like this, oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
And as we all just sat up and came out of it, this couple with a little girl, they're like, she must have been about, I don't know, 2 or 3, just a tiny little girl, just wobbling along. She was very cute. Anyway, she got to where we were, sat on the ground, and her mother's going, don't sit on the dirt, you'll get dirty. The little girl just sat.
Mm.
She just sat. And then she got herself up, dusted off her bum, and off she went. And it was like she'd felt the energy change. She collected what she needed from the library, and off she went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the tour came back, and all the participants in the tour came through with the Aboriginal lady behind. And when she got to where we were, she was as black as your cardigan, Janine, and her face lit up with the biggest smile. And that just showed me, because everything we were doing was so energetic, no words, nothing,
Yeah.
that her confirmation was just, it really expanded my heart and made me feel like, yep, we have done a good job. You know, there was something in that was really, was just so special.
Wow.
And
What made you ladies actually go over there? What was the pull? Did you know you were opening up the Lemurian Library before you went?
I think the woman that brought through the sacred geometry program, I have a feeling that she knew.
Yes.
Yeah. But the rest of us were just like, oh, Uluru, that'd be lovely.
I know, it's great, because we get led into these things and we don't really know what on earth is actually happening until we're there. And even then, we're still puzzling it together. And it's later on you sort of get the bigger picture of, oh, right, now I get it.
Now
but
I
it's
understand, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting.
It is. Yes. So the day we were supposed to leave, we got in the car for our final goodbye to the rock. And as we're driving out, all of the Aboriginals had come back to town. And there was a line of men walking along a track from their camp into town. And as we drove past, they saluted us like,
wow.
And it was like they could see our auric field and what we had been there for. So that was another confirmation, because, you know, I struggle with this at times. People go, "Oh yes, I've been sealing this and I've been doing that, and I've,
Mm-hmm.
with doing earth healing," and I struggle sometimes to understand what it is that humans think they're doing,
Mm.
um, because I don't know. It's just one of those thoughts that I have. So I've always needed confirmation around what I'm doing,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
because it's really
Because
I,
when we think about her being her higher being, this planet, her
mm,
body, she doesn't need any help with this. She's
no,
in her perfect alignment, and everything's as it needs to be. And then
yeah,
there's times where we might get asked to help or assist, and I feel like that's the sort of thing that was happening that day. But
yeah.
otherwise, she doesn't need our help in many ways.
In many ways, she doesn't.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. Anyway, it's just
Yeah.
where I sit with it,
Mm.
and I've done lots of earth healing.
Mm.
But I'm always asking for confirmation. Um, like, so when I first went to New Zealand, one of the things I thought, maybe I could make a PowerPoint presentation and run um, a day workshop on connecting to the Lemurian Library.
Mm.
And in my head, I have these two parts of me going off, and I'm going, "Oh, don't be so ridiculous, Bev. Who do you think you are?" Well, excuse me, but the guardian of Uluru turned up in my little flat, going, "Yes, you will do this."
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Good
Yeah,
on you. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Takes courage to do these things.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've just worked on a whim. It's been like, oh yeah, I can do that without really. I've just stepped into things
Mm.
as I've been directed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For
and
sure.
I think that's the trust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you know that the Lemurian Library had opened while you ladies were there? And why was it originally closed in the
Mm.
first place?
Well, it was originally closed because we weren't ready for all those gifts to come back
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah.
We'd so abused all of our gifts in other lives, in other times,
Mm.
that it got closed.
Mm.
So the idea of opening it was so that people could reclaim those gifts.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know about you, but spent many times going into past lives to gather those gifts that I've left there. Either
Mm.
that, or I've gone out into the galactic to reclaim those gifts that I
Mm.
just have dismissed,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess. And as we all have those lives where trauma and all the rest of it just
Mm.
closes down as
Mm.
far as they possibly could be.
More often than not.
Yeah.
More
For sure.
often than not. I think it's across the board in humanity, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
So
yeah, no, you go, Janine.
I was just going to say, just getting back to the last question. So how did you ladies actually know that it was opened?
Oh,
What were
look,
the signs?
what were the signs? The little
Yeah.
girl sitting to
Yeah.
collect her gifts, the Aboriginal lady walking through with this huge smile. Oh, and the other one, because I need human confirmation, by the way,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
was that we went into the store at Uluru, where there was lots of Aboriginal artefacts and paintings to buy, and the women behind the counter went, "Oh, we know what you were here for."
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah, so it
That's
wasn't,
pretty
because people don't stay at Uluru for 11 days.
right.
No, no.
No, they go 2 or 3 days maybe, so that they can go to Katarjina and Uluru, but there's not a lot out there
Mm.
Mm.
unless you are being impacted by the energy of the place.
Mm.
I do remember seeing Oprah go out there. She did a tour around Australia, and one of the
Yeah. That's
places
right.
she went, and
Mm.
she said turn the cameras off. This place is way too sacred to have cameras going.
Beautiful
Mm.
way.
Yeah,
Mm.
it is. There's been lots of people from all around the world that have gone to Uluru because they need to collect the energy that that's been held there for them as well.
Mm.
It's not quite so accessible now, is it? Have they shut part of it off to the public, or I just remember seeing something at some stage.
They shut down that you're not allowed to climb it anymore.
Yeah,
Which
that's
That's
I'm
right.
right.
like, yay!
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the 2 times that I've been out there, it's poured with rain and the wind's blowing like crazy, and they can't climb the rock in those conditions.
Mm.
So the
Right.
thought of somebody going up there is like, and humans are so disgusting at times. So they
Rubbish.
climb up there. There's no toilets anywhere. It's a
Mm.
long
Mm.
climb, and so they
Mm.
use it for toilet. They drop their rubbish. It's a sacred space.
Yeah, they've just
Imagine if
totally,
somebody stood on the spire of a cathedral and defecated everywhere. We'd be
Yeah.
they totally
total.
just don't realise, do they? It's actually the same at Castle Rock. I'm not talking about defecating on the rocks, but at Castle Hill, you know, here in Canterbury and the South Island, like that's a sacred spot too. And they have the rock climbers there all the time, and the yahoos, and you know, and it's such
Yeah.
a and I just yeah, it touches my heart because it is a very sacred place, and
Yeah.
it should be held in that energy, you know.
Yeah. It's
Yes, I
like
don't know when are we ever going to teach people about the
mm,
sacred places. I
mm,
mean, there is so many of them on the planet. I mean,
Yeah.
there's our major points, the major chakra points, but
Mm.
there's so many other
Gosh,
spots.
yes.
yeah.
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 But people aren't going to appreciate or honor a sacred space until they can honor the sacred space in themselves, and until they get that bit, they're just not going to believe that a rock can hold such a special energy or be so much more than what it appears to be, you know. And I mean,
Yeah.
we can feel it because we are honoring that place within ourselves, but yeah, for a lot of people, they're just not there yet, are they?
No, that is
Probably
very
just as well
true.
they have shut it off to people being on
Yeah.
it.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
the Aboriginals were quite, they were like, this needs to be done.
Yeah.
They've been protesting it for a long time. I mean,
Yes.
there's even a big sign, you know, this is our sacred space, please don't climb it, as people climb it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
uh,
oh,
did
I
you?
remember one lady who went to climb it. She was disgusted that they were closing it. We have a right to go where we want to.
Yeah.
Well, she got about this far up the rock and she had to be rescued.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she couldn't go any
Big
further.
learning in that. Big learning
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, indeed. Mm.
Did you get any promptings beforehand, Bev, about this happening, or and like, you know, did you feel like you like what sort of rights did you feel you had to go in there and do that? Were you
Yeah,
getting
well, it's interesting because Uluru has been a big part of my journey,
mm,
even though I had never been there. I had a little healing centre in Esperance, and I ran weekly meditation groups. Anyway, this one day I went for a walk, going, "What am I going to do tonight?" As you do,
Mm.
especially as I was quite new to it all.
mm,
And anyway, they said, I got this message, take them to Uluru. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sure I can do that. No idea how. So I jumped into well, we had CDs way back then. Went and got a CD of Tony O'Connor's Uluru, and I just took people down through the channel and out to Uluru.
Mm.
And they all had such amazing experiences.
mm,
Um, it's also part of my journey has been collecting uh, my knowing that I had in past lives as Aboriginal.
Mm.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I went and had they call it an ochering, so you get your feet ochred, and it was the same ochre that the woman that was initiating me put on my feet, but one foot turned almost black and the other one was orange. And I looked at him and I went, oh, I think I walk in two camps.
Yeah, great sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so with that, the woman that was initiating me went, I think I need to take you to see Auntie Vi, she was an Aboriginal elder here in Perth. And yes, she confirmed, yes, you walk in two camps. And so there's my white heritage, but there's also my black heritage, and I use both of those. I'm trying to think. No, it was just before that the voices of Aboriginals came through me when I was doing healing on people. Um, how that really happened was that I used to use my crystal bowl all the time in the healing session, and this day I picked my bowl up, it tapped the wall, and it broke. And this poor woman's deep in her healing, and I'm like, we need sound. Okay, here comes my voice.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like a complete surprise to me. And the fact that I smashed my bowl, it was just, you need to use your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because, as our greatest gifts are sometimes our greatest challenge as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. So
Feels like that bowl might have broken deliberately so that you had to use your voice.
I'm pretty sure
Absolutely.
that was the case. I never had another bowl for 2 years, so I had to use this voice.
Yeah.
So my ex-husband is Maori, and he has the most tone perfect voice, like beautiful. And he used to tell me to shut up. Your voice is flat. He just used to shut me down from singing or making sound. So overcoming that was quite it was quite big, really.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, Bev, I mean, I met Bev years ago in Auckland, but I'd heard Crystal Bowl, before, but nobody I had heard was using their voice with the bowls. And then I go to this evening with Bev, or that Bev was holding, and actually Janine, you and
I was sitting right next to you on the couch.
we went. That was the first night I met Bev. Well, I was blown away because I'd never heard anyone use the bowls. It was like your bowls and your voice. Those tools together are just phenomenal. You just took me off, and as you know, you had to wait for me to come back because I go. And I was just, that was just amazing. You are for me. I feel like I've always said to you, you're the bowl queen. Bowl toning queen. You just are. And the different, because there's different ancestry that comes through you. There's so much that comes through. Like I've heard so many different nationalities,
and they surprise me too.
Yes.
It depends who's sitting in front of me. And because I really trust the sounds that come through me. I remember working with a one-on-one client, and I had the sounds of the Scottish land come through. It's like, excuse me?
Yeah, no, you're out of it. I think it's wonderful because for me, I've had to really teach myself to open my voice, just public speaking even, but just through the humiliation of all the times I'd said the wrong thing at some point in time and being humiliated from it. It took a great deal of strength to get through that, to be able to just be. And if anyone else has an issue, they have an issue. But you know, so I can imagine even like with toning and bringing that through in a public arena like that would be a little nerve-wracking, you know, when you're first getting started and braving it.
Yeah, well, that was see, that was New Zealand for me. New
Mm,
Zealand just opened me up like nothing else could possibly have done. I
mm,
seriously, I sat for 2 years with my bowl in my circle at in Bridgetown when I was living there. I just sat and I played my bowl and sang to the magpies. You know, it was like
yeah.
Wow.
um, but that was the way I deeply connected with my bowl. I deeply connected with the earth, and I really deeply felt the resonance that happened between my voice and my bowl.
Mm, yeah.
Mm, it was,
Yeah. It's amazing.
yeah. So I have issues around all sorts of things, but I also
Don't we all?
I do. I also have issues around people buying a bowl and playing it without actually connecting to it and really
Mm.
feeling that connection that comes between them and the crystal bowls.
Yeah.
You know, I feel some people go and buy them because they're pretty. I went
Hmm.
to one lady's house, she had a pot plant sitting inside her crystal bowl. I was
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are tools to be shared with humanity.
Yeah.
The plant was probably loving it.
I was just
Oh,
going
it
to say,
probably was.
yeah.
But I didn't think that was its purpose.
No,
I
no.
remember that sound healing where I was sitting next to you, Mandy, on the couch, and that was the first time for me going along to one of your sound healings, Bev. And I don't think I realized that you made sound with your voice as you were playing the bowls. Because I remember when you first started the language, I was so surprised, but I could hear it coming from you, but I could feel it coming from inside myself. And that was the bit that surprised me the most. It's like it was coming from two different places at the one time. And yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. It's powerful
Totally.
medicine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely
for me,
powerful.
that's what the bowls do. It's like they don't, you know, they're not just here. The sound is all around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
it's
But it was more your voice that
Yeah.
that was the resonance of your voice that was coming from deep within me, as well as out of your mouth. That was the bit. It was like, oh my gosh. I was just, yeah, I
okay,
was so with that.
right.
Oh, hey.
No,
Yeah, that's
thanks,
cool.
Mm.
Janine. No, I didn't know that part.
Yeah,
And
I wondered if anybody else had ever said that to you.
no, people have said so. That when where we were at Sally's place when I did that sound
Yeah.
healing, but there
Yep.
was another time that we did it down in. They've got a little grove at the bottom of their place, and everybody laid on the ground, and they felt it coming up through the ground as well as
Mm.
surrounding them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very powerful tool,
Mm.
and yeah.
Are we
Yep.
going to experience it today with you, Bev?
Yes, if we can stop chatting for 5 minutes,
Just before we do, though, Bev,
yeah.
there's the solar plexus now. We're talking about that with Uluru, aren't we, for
Yes,
this connection
yes,
now on the planet. And
yeah.
also, too, I just wanted to sort of remind myself, but you also, about the grandmother spider, creator spider or grandmother spider that's at the Uluru as well. No?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't know that bit.
Okay.
I know that in the 21st of the 12th, 2019 is when the Aboriginals have been holding this what's it called, ceremony
Mm-hmm.
within themselves for 40,000 years to bring through to activate the solar plexus of the planet,
Mm.
Right.
which is for us to go enough. That's what our solar plexus is about. It's about
Yeah.
our power and what we're not going to put up with any longer.
Mm.
So as that was activated, it activated the rest of the power points around the planet. And it's
Perfect.
taking its time, but we can see we have a lot of shifts happening on the
We
world
have.
stage at
Yeah.
the moment.
Absolutely.
Where it might end, I really have no clue, but I have faith
Yes.
and trust that we will get there in the end, wherever that might be.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You can feel it happening, eh? I can.
Yeah. Oh, yes. You know, I go up and down and up and down and
And round
Yeah.
and round.
round and
Yeah.
round. Yep. It's because it is for my little human brain. It's all very confusing some days.
Mm.
But I have faith in that we will get to the point where
Yeah.
we can experience heaven on earth.
Mm.
Good on you. Faith is a powerful presence to have. So
It is.
yeah.
And you know,
And-
it's part of my belief is that that's what we're here for, is
Yeah.
to anchor heaven here on earth.
Mm.
And it's so part of my sound, like we were talking about before, is to actually anchor people deeper into their bodies, so they can so once they're anchored in, they can go fly higher. But you can't, if you're not tethered, you can't really go too far.
Mm.
Mostly you get trapped in the astral plane, actually, if you're not
Yeah.
tethered properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, interesting. No, a couple of journeys I've been on to Uluru. The grandmother spider has come forward. And when I mentioned it to you, the first time, you were in acknowledgement of that and said that there was a connection for you with that as well. But that's all good.
Sorry, Mandy, but yeah, sometimes my memory doesn't always remember everything.
No,
but yes, I do remember. I think it was just after that I needed to really trust and allow myself to be ingested by grandmother spider.
Yes.
So that then it's like you become part of the web.
Yes, that's what I was saying, was like this creative web now that we were in, and she was sort of leading that. you know, it was great.
And that, of course, is another big trust thing, to actually feel yourself being ingested by another creature.
Especially a spider.
Yeah.
Especially for Kiwis, they really have this fear of spiders.
Especially the size of the ones in Australia.
Yeah, true.
Oh, it's those wolf spiders that get me when they're carrying their babies. You know, there's 1,000 babies sitting on top of them.
Oh,
Yeah. Makes me go goosey. All right.
Okay. So just taking some deep breaths all the way down into your belly. Hang on, let me share this screen. Just allowing yourself to drop even deeper. As we call forth the guardians of the 4 directions. As we drop deep into the heart of Mother Earth. Knowing that there's a passageway that leads from the heart of the earth directly to Uluru, and allowing yourself to go there in your consciousness. Ene o koia takaiata ikitiata. Ene kia poia taiata. Ukutaiata iatai. Ine kia tuiata ititiata. E te chikaya toia kanikataiata. Ene kia poia taikitiata. And as you arrive at Uluru, allow yourself to step through the rock, to be greeted by the elders that have been holding that energy for you for the last 40,000 years. E tea koia chikaya taikitai, e ne kia poia taikita. You may smell the smoke from the fires that are to cleanse your auric field as you drop and shed any of old remembrances that are not needed right now. Te apo takatai itikutuku tai kiti inaku tu iti and you can feel them welcoming you in, welcoming you to gather your gifts that have been left behind in the Lemurian Library held within the rock. You gently start to walk around the rock, following the paths, feeling yourself pulled within the rock to those nooks and crevices, those little places that have stored knowledge. Trust that you will be led to exactly the right space at the rock where your gifts are stored. Kia hōtai kaieta iu hoto ikiti ti 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 ine kia poia toia toia te eke You might even feel yourself immersed totally within the rock as you gather the information that you need for your journey in this moment. Trusting your own deep sense of knowing that you are in the right place at the right time. And when you've collected all that you need in this now moment, you can gently step back, thanking the guardian of the rock for the safekeeping of your gifts, of your knowledge. He's kept it safe for this time. So give so much thanks as we start to head our journey back to the heart of the earth. Giving thanks to our beautiful mother for holding us, for nurturing us, for providing for us, as a loving mother always does. And then finding your way back to where you are right now, and gently opening your eyes and coming present.
That was beautiful.
Cool.
Lovely.
Oh.
It's really beautiful. For me, I found that when I found the place on the rock that held my gifts and I connected with it, the sunshine here came fully on my face, and I was aware of the light codes coming in as I was connecting with Uluru right in that moment.
I did.
So,
my eyes looked up and you were just light.
yeah, that's what I felt. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm really experiencing this in this now moment through energetically and physically. So
Yeah. Oh, we
Great,
love confirmation, don't we?
yeah.
Yes. We do.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. I was seeing that into the rock, there was this funny fluttery thing that came from the left, and then grandmother spider turned up again. But I came back out and I was flying over and then looking over the whole rock and seeing the sacred geometry, the pattern or the blueprint or the grid or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. And then I could feel this movement down my spine, actually, like it was, I don't know, I can still feel it now. Like there was a connection of some sort with the spine to the spine.
Oh,
I don't know quite how
you
to
know that old
explain.
saying, when you found your power, it's like grow a backbone, that old saying.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
yeah, stand up
yeah,
straight and be in your power.
yeah. Was
Mhm.
like yeah. Yeah, I'm there. There's
Yeah.
still some more to that, I think.
Yes,
I can
and look,
feel.
you can go back anytime you want and
Mm,
or you feel called,
yeah,
because it was quite short.
I love the sticks.
yes.
Yeah, no, yes. So these were actually, the designs were drawn on them by Bob Randall, who was one of the custodians out at Uluru,
Mm.
and they were just penciled on when I received them, and so I found a burning stick and I've burnt into the patterns into them,
Mm.
and it was a really beautiful process to be able to actually do them
Mm,
for myself.
Mm.
Mm, yeah,
yes.
Wow.
See, and that was all perfect. That it was only penciled on, and
yeah, and that
you've
and
now made them yours.
my beautiful landlord had a wood burning tool.
Mm,
Thanks very much. Perfect.
hey,
I
exactly.
knew he would. He has
Mhm.
every
Yeah.
other thing.
Bless him, having it all
Yeah.
ready for you. Oh, that's
Mm,
been wonderful, Bev.
yeah.
Just wonderful.
I
Been
didn't
a
think
And
I
lovely
had
time.
much to
Been a
say,
lovely
but
time.
apparently I did.
yes, see, always.
Oh, it's
That's
been
great.
really lovely chatting with you ladies. It's like,
Mm,
I think sometimes we do need to share a bit of our story, don't we?
Yeah.
we
Like,
do. Yep,
yeah,
It just reminds us of who we are. It
exactly.
brings us back into connection with the power of ourself again.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
reminds you, reminds
Mm,
us. Mm,
it does.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good. It's
it
a good
is.
thing to do.
Good.
Mm.
It's been a lovely time shared.
Oh, yes, thank you so much.
Mhm.
I've thoroughly
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me
Mm.
too.
All right.
So cool. Nice, easy breezy.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thanks so much, Bev. And you know, I always want to say keep up the good work, with everybody who comes on, but I know we all will, because it's your passion, it's what you hear, it's who you are, and that's
Yeah.
so
And
there's no way you'll not do it.
you can't run away from yourself forever, can you?
No, no.
What's the old saying? Everywhere you go, there you are.
True.
That's it. So you might as well be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Cool. And I think
work
that's going to get
work in
easier to be able
progress.
to do now as well.
Mm.
Yeah, it is.
Mm.
Well, definitely finding it for myself.
Mm.
Um, well, I feel like I've turned into this grumpy old woman who's all these things just pop out of my mouth.
That never used to, because you wouldn't, like,
I couldn't. Yes, I'd
yeah.
be very scared I might offend somebody.
Mm.
But that seems to have dropped away a lot now.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, it's great, eh?
yeah,
There's definitely, like, there's so much that's morphing,
yeah,
in us all. It's just like I just see new things appearing in myself all the time now.
yeah,
And the old still shows up, but it's not as forceful as it used to be. It's like it's allowing now this new stuff to enter in and show itself. And Yes, it's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
it's fun.
Good.
That's
Mm.
fun.
So
All right, thank
beautiful.
you, ladies, and you
Thank
did
you.
such a wonderful job
Thank you.
getting us all to share our stories.
No,
Yeah. Mwah.
thank you.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
See you
Wonderful.
later.